bounce to find Downey.
Looking for that huck. Ooh.
Kelly Carter takes a tumble. It's a turnover. Huri Putty with a great opportunity now.
We're hearing a lot of talk not only on the field but from the sideline, with Huri Putty looking to support the players, letting them know where they are in the field, but also sideline giving that feedback and finding the open player in the end zone. That's Rebecca O'Leary with the points.
So Huri Putty slowly widening the score now. Hammertron Prime needs something to get them back in this game. It is the home field advantage, but it seems like they've forgotten that this is the kind of territory that they're most used to playing in. This is their opportunity now to show what the Waikato region's ultimate looks like. Huri Putty, a bit of a cushion in terms of a lead, but again, nothing is secure until the last point of the game has been scored. So it's still anyone's game. Hammertron, their offensive line, maybe needing to shake things up. We might see some of their players shifting in and out, maybe pulling in some of their more experienced defensive players in the event of a turn, just giving them that extra coverage.
And you know, we definitely see Huri Putty here. They're shining in the winds. They're so used to that given the Wellington conditions that they're used to playing in. I honestly think that if it were a dead day, if there were no winds, they might be a bit dazed and confused, a bit lost there. So they're naturals in this type of weather. That's what they've all learned how to throw in and what they're all used to training in.
So Huri Putty, again, we mentioned one of the leanest rosters, a monster pull with enough curve to bring it back inbounds, fielded by Wilcock again.
Into the end zone, Huri Putty running down there, and Hogg, now Risner trying to keep that disc from moving farther downfield, gaining any more yards.
Taiapa Gurman really directing the offense now, that same little chip pass effort to work through the zone. Johnson on the far sideline. Gurman again, the top gun.
Now, interesting to see here that Hammertron actually has quite a few players downfield, really splitting that deep, splitting Titoff Smith, who's hanging out in that deep space. We've got 3 potentially open players here. Now, Hammertron finally seeing one of those options. Safe catch, was waiting for that to happen there.
And Marie McDonald, incredibly athletic, really fit, secures a nice, beautiful assist to Christine Moore, the Chaos from Canada. A nice import for the Hammertron side, doing a huge amount in terms of bringing her experience as a world's level player to the prime line, and just that same sort of cool measured head.
And Gurman just shining there. You know, it's great to see, you know, handlers who recognize they're able to look beyond all the chaos that's happening in front of them with a zone like that and finding those deep looks, but also on top of that being able to hit them. So Gurman with a beautiful backhands there, finding one of those deep options. Honestly, I think he could have just put it up, and one of those three speedy players in that downfield would have scooped it up, but resulting in a well-deserved point for Hammertron.
So the score now 4-2 in favor still of Huri Putty. A closer game though, only 2 points in it. Hammertron Prime to send down their defensive line. Ian McLaren, Hamish Crockett, Kieran McDonald, Maringi Hogan. Some fantastic athletic and intense players, huge amounts. McLaren with the pull.
And one player that I'm really watching out for this game is Maringi Hogan. Last game against HMC, she had some amazingly athletic plays, climbing up the ladder to sky some people twice her height, you know, really chasing discs down in the end zone. So I'm excited to see what she has today. Huge shot going into the end zone, and Fitzpatrick with the catch, seeing it into his hands, chasing it down, boxing out that defensive player for a safe point.
That is a great point by Huri Putty. And again, one of the perspectives, I guess, with a zone, with Hammertron zone, you do want to force some of those maybe lower percentage throws, force those big throws that you can cover. And we saw there, McLaren was right on the back of Fitzpatrick Cockram, just really doing a great job of applying that pressure. It did come off in favor of Huri Putty in this instance, but there's nothing guaranteed, and really that's the key with throwing down these zones, is it applies enough pressure to force those lower percentage options and maybe give you the opportunity to clean those up, to secure a turnover, and then to capitalize with a score. one more time, we see the Huri Pari defensive line. Now, we talked about how they have such a lean roster this time. I believe at this point in the tournament, they are currently fielding only 6 men and 8 women for a total of 14.
And while that can be a disadvantage, you know, it's a 3-day tournament, it's, you know, it's a bit longer, and you need legs for that. It can also be an advantage where you get those connections, you get that energy, and when you have it going on the field, you can stay on and continue to play. We had seen Mara Neal on the line there right before the disc went up. She was talking to her teammates, developing the strategy, letting them know this is what needs to be happening.
Wilcox snatches the reset, finds Beth Williams. Johnson. Kelly Carter to Michael Downey. One of those very familiar Hammertron connections that we're going to see a lot of in this game. Players who have a lot of experience together, both as a local club team and also on the national level. Nice ankle-breaking movement by Lucas Wilcox. Beth Williams to clean up a slightly overcooked throw, finding Maria Smith on the sideline. Wilcox with a big bomb. Michael Downey in position for a big target. Goes up over the top of Mara Neal to just secure a point.
Clean catch. Also great to see when those gender matches happen in the end zone like that both people play it safely, and there's no tackling happening. Frisbee, again, a non-contact sport.
We're going to see that one again on our replay now. Michael Downey going up. A birthday present for his dad. This one's for you, big man. Score is now 5-3. A 2-point game, very, very narrow. Still plenty of time for Huri Pari to widen up this lead. Plenty of time for Hammertron Prime to establish a comeback of their own, to pick up a bit of that momentum, really narrow that scoreline and take them to a better position coming out of pool play. So this is the last game of our pool play. We've had 6 games on stream. This is the 6th so far. From here, we're going to be moving on into our championship bracket. So this is a crucial game for both teams as it determines sort of their position moving into the potential top 8.
So we've got Huri Pari's offensive line now. Yo and Titov Smith back handling. Disc goes out of bounds, so
just a little bit of fade towards the end of that throw. So Huri Pari giving the signal to Brick. It looked like it was going to fade back in, but the edge of the disc just tipped back out of the field there. We're going to see Kieran McDonald setting up as one of the chasers, the sort of integral initial positions on that Hammertron zone, that 2-3-2. So we have 2 players in the front in a wall just trying to shift backwards and forwards, covering everything. Huri Pari able to get a nice break around Lehigh Kapoor, saying, "This is my wing, you will not pass." Simone Ball, a high shot.
Oh, bit too high potentially. A quick transition on offense there.
Players absolutely thrashing downfield to cover those deep threats as Huri Pari start that same disc work that's seen them open up this game a little bit early. Yo, again, directing the traffic, laser show straight through the middle. Finds Burke, one over the top.
Safe continuation cuts downfield. Great to see that the players are expecting those connections and running to meet the next steps, running to make the next steps happen, give those options.
Aldridge on the red zone.
And Hammertron staying in the zone, in this red zone space, and eaten up.
There it is. You wanted to see something like that from Maringi Hogan. And so she's done it. That's defense 1 for her.
We're keeping tally.
Kieran McDonald and Simone Ball, a lot of connections that they've had in the past. It's really nice watching them flow together, just using that experience from a number of years on the same team.
And the zone here definitely slowing down Huri Pari just a little bit. Oh, you see they're hungry for the D there. But at the same time with players, with this handler set, with such experience, we've got Yo, Neal, Titov Smith, we've got Burke there jumping up high to catch the disc. Oh, potential contact there. While slowing them down can be beneficial, having so much experience around the throw, such solid decision making. You know, this is where they're thriving. I bet they're loving this. And it can be difficult. You really want to be giving handlers like this the easy options.
And that really is the purpose of this Hammertron zone. So we're seeing Kieran McDonald and Briar Bertram just absolute wheels of players, just really hustling, trying to get in front of the disc as much as possible just to arrest momentum and really stop some of these longer shots going through, forcing Huri Pari to work around those hungry defensive players.
Handlers again safe, trying to unlock where the next best options are. Looks like Huri Pari's really settling in. They're sitting there trying to figure out what's next, and Hammertron is locking down in that zone. Not a lot of options happening downfield. Look like a stoppage in play here.
So the players will have discussion. A reminder that Ultimate is a self-officiated sport, seven-a-side sport without refs, and so the players take it upon themselves to learn the rules and implement them in discussion on field. If you're a parent at home, you're looking to figure out what's the best sport for your own children, can't recommend Ultimate enough, aside from the relatively low cost of entry, with all you need being a flying disc. It's going to teach the communication and emotional intelligence that we're seeing on display from both teams, allowing them to resolve these calls relatively quickly. A nice scuba over the top finds Yo center field.
Really trying to break out of that downwind side. We're going for the disc, can't quite follow it through. And Ball's going to capitalize on this offensive turn here.
A bit of miscommunication throwing into too many players.
O'Leary making the look downfield. Ball's hot on her tail and manages some great bodying out. Looks like O'Leary was not feeling that. Maybe a bit too much contact.
Again,
I'm not sure. It's difficult to say in situations like this because bodying out can be such a great way to play defense. That's how you can defend those high looks like that. And it is really up to the players in situations like this where O'Leary was saying, you know, I couldn't get there because you were in my way. At the same time, did she have that space? Looks like uncontested.
And that really is one of the perils. There's boxing out, but there's the importance to make sure that there's minimal, if any, contact. And in this case, it did look like there was enough of a collision to change the line of the players as they were running. And so it's a good call, and to have that be uncontested, to recognize what impact that have is a good display of spirit by both teams.
And again, Hammertron staying in the zone, in this red zone here, in the end zone. They're keeping the pressure on there. The benefit of that is that there's no transition. You can stay on the disc, continue to lock it down. The risk, again, there can be open players left downfield if you lose that focus for just a second. So safe points in the hands of
Farnham with the score.
With the score.
So it's 6-3 now. A 2-1 point advantage for Huri Pari.
So Farnham again was the player whose dog who inspired the name Huri Pari. She managed to get this puppy over lockdown. Unfortunately, it sounds like the puppy could not attend Div 1 Nats. We'd see him running around the field. But she said definitely helped keep her fit. So some creative ways from Huri Pari staying fit. They also did some Zoom calls, Zoom hit workouts together, staying in touch to keep each other accountable, gearing up for Division 1 Nats.
So despite a 3-point advantage, we haven't seen a timeout called yet, as we have in quite a few other games, but the whistle from the timekeepers signifying the play must resume. Taking a few seconds on the line to just discuss strategy, figure out what is and isn't working. A massive, big pull from T-Top Smith by Huri Pari.
Great to see Huri Pari. Every one of the players is booking it down the field there, trying to stop that quick movement to gain those yards back.
We're seeing, looks like a 4-person cup now. Huge amount of pressure on that defense, but rather than working for space, they're dedicating a lot of players to stopping those initial throws. With the give and goes that we're seeing from Hammertron, it's a function of whether or not one person can move faster than those 4 to just break through and create an opportunity. Wilcock with a big shot.
Gurman, can he come down with it? Oh.
Number 24 on number 24, but a conversation will be had as to whether or not there might have been some interference there. We're going to see.
And I think there is a call made on the field.
From our perspective, we can see.
Gurman's calling, I think he's calling that headspace. He was saying, in Ultimate Frisbee, I have the space above my head belongs to me, you know, and if you get in front of that, if you breach that space, then it is a foul.
And so that is really the key question that's happening here, is whether or not that impressive defensive effort interfered with Gurman's ability to play for the disc. It is still nice, despite the contact, to see these numerical matchups. 24 on 24. And we've had a couple of those in some of our other games. It's just a nice bit of symmetry almost to see how these teams matching up against one another.
Also, I'm really excited to see this defensive look here, to see how Huri Pari is adapting their defense. As I was mentioning before, you know, anyone's game, still they are quite similar in score, and I'm excited to see them throwing something else, trying a different zone. You know, talking with the players before the game started on Huri Pari, they mentioned that they are quite an adaptable team. They do have, you know, the set plays, the strategy that they've been training, but they're adaptable, and that's one of the goals, one of the things they look to bring to every game they play, trying to figure out what is best to beat this team. So here they've switched up their zone, as you mentioned, with a 4-person cup, seeing if, you know, that's going to throw a bit of extra pressure on the handlers, trying to make Hammertron figure out, you know, what's the key to unlock the problem here.
So the result of that call was a contested foul, which means the disc has to return to the last contested play. Wilcock, with that big huck option, instead looking to recenter to Michael Downey, sending a low one of his own. Those ankle biters, Wilcock keeps it alive, trying to work through that 4-person cup. It's just Wilcock and Downey.
This energy in this cup is amazing. Aston really she's hot on the tail of that disc, chasing them around. Ooh, and that pressure resulting in a turnover there. They're looking for a quick transition.
Titov Smith on the near sideline.
That energy in the cup, that energy on defense, transitioning really well over to offense right here.
A nice amount of pressure applied by Smith to the defense on the defense. An overthrow, giving Hammertron another opportunity to narrow the score margin. Michael Downey to pick up.
Yeah, Reserve really she put a little bit too much zest, a little too much sauce on that throw there, but she's back on the mark, and they're hungry for that D.
Big wide swings, just trying to work through a nice low shot with a bit of air bounce, but it's straight into the hands of Nikki Bodas.
Allows for a quick turnover and a faster transition, because it was interesting to see Hammertron stretching the field there, but now here on offense, finding Risner in the end zone. Another point for Huri Pari on the board.
We'll see that again. Bodas, a high angle forehand to the far sideline, marked by Gurman, but given enough space to send one up to Reisner.
And that outside in forehand is just such a great throw in situations like this. Bodas has it in her arsenal, and she responds so well to that, knowing what throw needs to be done. She has them all available to get the disc exactly where she wants it. So an outside in forehand here, going exactly how she wants around the defense, safely into the hands, dropping it down at that angle into Risner, as opposed to floating it up there where the wind could play with it, change it around.
And on that replay, we could actually see Michael Downey peeling off his player to try and make a play. Had that disc had a bit more float on it, we could have seen a turnover. As it stands, Huri Pari go up by 4. It's now 7-3 in their favor. They are 1 point away from taking half in this game to 15. The second game of day 2. The final pool play stream game in the Division 1 New Zealand Mixed Ultimate Championships.
So timeout here. I'm curious what they're talking about. You know, Hammertron is seeing a few more points against their favor at the moment. You know, maybe thinking about how can we shorten that highway? How can we get back on track? So we've seen Huri Pari adapt in different ways, throwing a different zone there, and that tenacity on defense, which they quickly transition into offense once they get the D. So I'm curious to see how Hammertron is going to respond. How can they adapt? What is the flexibility? Are they going to do something new on offense? They might have some pull plays in the back pocket, drawing on some of their key receivers, maybe even throwing on a called line at the moment. Who is fired up? Who wants to play this? Who wants to score this point? And potentially calling out a set play that they know will get a point on the board for them.
Now, Hammertron Prime's defense is quite interesting to me, because there are really sort of two defensive approaches that you can sort of take, philosophically speaking, as a team. you can either try and make those big plays, particularly with match defense, exploiting matchups to just get one of your key players in position to score a defense, or this zone, and particularly this zone, that 2-3-2, where they're using position to frustrate the offense, to try and make those turnovers come from the Huri Pari throwers as opposed to necessarily from having the defensive team making a play. Just frustrating them a little bit, having them only presented with lower percentage options, maybe going over the top of the zone. Just something for that Hammertron zone to clean up a little bit. And so it's quite an interesting sort of defensive philosophy. But against the very clinical, precise ultimate that we're seeing from Huri Pari, again, some of these players have come from that Marvelous DC Space Invaders stock. It may or may not be enough.
Hellman with the pull. Calmly picked up.
You mentioned a pull play, and we are seeing Hammertron come out in a side stack, trying to just leave a little bit more space for their players, maybe isolate a few cutters before they fold back into that hex that they're known for.
Looks like Kelly Carter ISO'd over there. The two on the far side of the field, I imagine, are the ones they were looking at. Potentially an in-cut from Carter to a deep look. Great catch! Love to see that energy that Carter is so well known for. Never giving up on the disc. And
Michael Downey threading through to Wilcock.
While it may not have gone in their favor, they're definitely utilizing that momentum on offense and seeing some clean throws here.
Again, just using wide swings, using the width of the field to really force that Huri Pari team to work their zone, to use those legs, maybe recognizing that Huri Pari need to conserve something for the rest of the game, considering their very lean roster. And maybe Hammertron are using to capitalize their numbers advantage to take care of that. A nice,
great
dead shot. Kelly Carter pulls out the sniper rifle, sends one through to Lucas Wilcock, who goes to ground, just toppling over like a domino.
And the way they hit the fields there, the way Huri Pari was playing defense, the way Hammertron came out with that energy on offense against them, it did really feel like that, you know, sometimes when the team is out there, they're hitting the shots, they're seeing their players, they're executing the throws correctly. You know that a point is in the near future.
So that's a crucial opportunity for Prime, narrowing the scoreline. 7-4 still in favor of Huri Pari. The Hammertron Prime defensive line hoping to bring out that same zone, hoping to frustrate a Huri Pari offense who do not yet seem to be tiring.
We're seeing Broughton on the field for one of the first times, number 3. Excited to see what he's going to do out there, giving his teammates a chance to play before he jumps on the line to join them.
Ian McLaurin with the pull, return of the Mac, low, flat across the field. Around about the opposition brick mark, Broughton and Yo initiating that offense with some really nice clinical give-and-go passes just to gain a few meters up the field.
And Hammertron here playing in junk, so they're definitely switching up their zone as well. Something that I was looking forward to seeing. What else do they have in the back pocket? Risner definitely stretching the field back there as Huri Pari goes over the top to Paul.
The zone repositioning, forcing to that near sideline. Broughton able to make some quick gains up the field.
I love seeing handler offense like this. The whole team getting involved. I think everyone on the field for Huri Pari's touched the disc now. What a great point.
So that's Andrew Fitzpatrick Cochran with the score as Huri Pari take half.
Exciting to see points like that, you know, where with zone points, it's so often just the handlers around the disc, just swinging, swinging, swinging. I've talked to a lot of handlers who say the zone is their happy space because they get so much time on the disc. From this replay, we're seeing again, beautiful completion, save into the hands.
And again, it's that really clinical offensive vision. We saw Yo offload the disc and wasn't looking for the next pass to return to him, but was looking 1-2 passes ahead, cutting across into that top corner as the disc found Reisner in the far corner, who was able to quickly offload to Yo again for the assist. So really, really great offense that we're seeing from Huri Pari. Prime with a 4-point deficit on their home turf. Now is the time for them to start the comeback train if they want to stay in this game.
Once again, yeah, jumping off that point from Huri, the whole team got involved, which I think is a testament to the depth, the trust, and the ability of all the players. Really curious to see in the second half what Hammertron can pull out of the back pocket, what they have in the arsenal to, again, throw more at Huri. What can they give to slow them down on the field, and also how can they capitalize? We've seen some beautiful flow, hoping to see a bit more of that in the second half as well.
But until that second half, my name is Blair Monroe.
And I'm Kelsey Bielik.
And we will be back with you soon for this, the final game of pool play, day 2, game 2 of the New Zealand Division 1 Mixed Ultimate Championships, the clash in Kirikiriroa in Hamilton, New Zealand.
And welcome back to this game, Huri versus Hammertron Prime at the Division 1 New Zealand Mixed Ultimate Frisbee Championships held in sunny Hamilton. So Hammertron Prime on their home turf here, and Huri coming up from Wellington, the capital. Right now, Huri up 8-4. My name is Kelsey Bielik.
I'm Blair Monroe.
And we will be your eyes and ears for the second half of this game. An exciting matchup.
Hamish Crockett, codenamed Sprocket, on the pull for Hammertron. A little bit of edge. It's going to be fading in the wind, coming straight towards the commentary box. And you might have heard that on camera.
Leo coming over to the commentators to get the disc. Hi, Lee.
A little bit of excitement here in the commentary box as we see Lee Yo bricking the disc. So we're going to see that same Hammertron defense. Kieran McDonald, Briar Bertram on the chase. Those two hungry, aggressive players hoping to frustrate and force the disc back. They're able to work through, find Broughton on the near sideline.
And it looks like Hammertron is coming out in that same 2-3-2 defensive zone that they've been running before. Again, this zone that they run because I imagine it does work quite well against the Hex offense, and also is effectively slowing down Huri offense right now. Even though it looks like they're running more of a classic zone. Oh, great bout of athleticism right there. Yo shows to catch the disc.
Almost tripping over his own feet, just dead flat, making sure that it stays in the hands of the Huri offense.
We're seeing a lot of really small passes here. While Huri is figuring out how to hit those open downfield players.
I think we had a missed opportunity to say. I was wondering why that frisbee was getting closer, and then it hit me. Broughton now center field, marked out by the long arms of McDonald, able to work the disc around, start chipping through the middle of that zone behind that first initial wall.
There we go. Now they're back on the sideline, but they've been moving it across the field. They are, as you mentioned, starting to chip away at this cup, at this zone, figuring out what can we do, where are the options, and in the meantime, just holding that patience, maintaining that calm and not trying to force anything to happen that isn't a clean, safe option. We see Risner waiting downfield.
Oh, looks like there might have been
bit of a stumble.
A bit of a stumble, bit of a stepping on perhaps there, just having a quick discussion. Broughton's going to retain possession of the disc. It looked a bit touch and go, but it seems he had it secure when he took to the ground.
We've got Paul and Pellman downfield trying to stretch that offense and open up options for deeper looks, but they do look pretty heavily marked as well. And
Bodas tries the reset. Kieran McDonald just says, not today.
Not today.
The Mac from McDonald immediately turns into a deep cut, gets looked off. Briar Bertram managing to get one just out.
Once again, coming over to the commentators.
Maringi Hogan just out of her reach, hoping to keep that one in bounds.
And Broughton walking over calmly to pick up the disc.
But this is the benefit of the Hammertron defensive line.
Hey, Josh.
They are used to playing defense. Even if they turned, it's immediately back to, oh, now it's our job. We know how to do this. Having to force a scuba over the top, but Yo eats that one up. Still near sideline, working the disc back and forwards.
And again, I think the handlers here are really enjoying this, trying to figure out how to unlock it, but also just trusting each other and having a blast, looking at options. This is the problem. How do we open up space? How do we hit the open players? What's the solution?
And that is one of the perils of running a 2-3-2, is that when you have three handlers back or able to weave around to cut across to pull defense in one direction or another, over the top of Broughton's hands. An unforced error by Huri, but giving Hammertron a great opportunity.
Bit of a zesty throw there, but too much sauce on that with that blade potentially.
An impressive attempt at it nonetheless, but having those three handlers working against the two front players of a zone does mean that it can be quite easy to catch that wall, those initial two chasers out of position, pulling them with one big fake cut and having a second handler fill in that space. Sprocket with a long shot.
Oh, and Neil running down on defense to help clean that up. It was a great look by Hogan chasing that disc down.
Needle faked off to Reisner.
And
Just to get it.
Hammertron back on that defense, setting that zone again, trying to chip away. Some great, great aggression there on the disc, trying to find those swilly high throws and eat them up.
Hellman, Broughton,
Not
doing a lot of the work.
Huri Putty's not giving up just yet, though, as Hammertron is really stepping up the energy here. Reisner destroying that break side. Yo with a massive shoulder fake.
Nice toed in on an indoors catch, even just finding that vulnerable position, managing to make sure that point of contact is there, and just watching the disc into the hands for a secure catch by Huri Putty.
And I was saying during that point that the handlers were moving that disc downfield and they were trying to find those open options. Where downfield are they? But with the zone, it was giving them that third handler reset. If there's only two people in the zone downfield marking the handlers, there's going to be another one that's open. So instead of finding those players downfield that could be open, it's interesting to see the handlers just maintained that chill, composed demeanor and ended up just working it in without finding that deep shot or without tossing it over the top. They ended up just walking it down, which is another way to break the zone.
Answering Hammertron's give-and-go Hex offense with just a series of concise give-and-go passes of their own, looking to say that, oh, that's a nice game, Hammertron, but we can play that too. Widening the score to a margin of 5 as they come down on defense. 9-4 against Hammertron Prime as we enter the 49th minute of the game. Gurman and Carter initiating the offense for Hammertron now. We're seeing another cup, a 3-person cup by the looks. Hopefully Hammertron able to shift the zone enough. Smith to Moore.
A great movement here. You're seeing these quick passes. The stall is not getting too high before they're finding an open option. And that's a great way to keep the cup, especially a skeleton squad like Huri Putty, on their toes on defense. If they're running a zone, it means the people chasing the disc there are going to start getting tired. Massive deep shot into the hands of Gurman. That's Carter to Gurman. That is Fight TD player. She was gearing up, I know, really excited for Worlds this year, and Gurman as her coach, it's got to be a good feeling throwing to your coach saying, hey, I see you and I can set you up for that point.
Tim Gurman, the top gun on Hammertron, says to Kelly Carter, you can be my wingman anytime.
So as I was saying, it was great seeing that quick movements. None of the players with the disc on Hammertron were holding it on for too long, and they were keeping the Huri Putty defensive players on their toes. So as I was saying, they're a skeleton squad. They don't have many legs. So, when they do throw a zone like that, taking that extra moment to say, hey, I can make you run, I can make those throws to my teammates, and if you do want to run, we'll put you off to the races. So it can be really beneficial, not just in the short game, moving the disc fast and keeping the options open, but also in the longer game, potentially trying to wear them out as the game goes on. So that when you have the depth in your roster, you can put fresh people on, that the other team might be getting fatigued. Huri Putty not just showing that yet, though. They've definitely put their training in.
So Hammertron to come out on defense now. Likely they'll be running that same zone, that 2-3-2. They have been drilling it all season. They've used it to great effect at their qualifying tournaments when they travel down to Wellington for the regional qualifier there. McLaren low, flat pull.
Laser. Stopped by Yo to Broughton.
Wilson, the assassin, on the mark.
And Hammertron running that same 2-3-2. A lot of pressure around the disc here. And this Hammertron zone has been really effective in slowing down the zone, forcing Huri Putty to find the open players and make those safe catches. I mean, it did result in the last point, them just slowly working it down the field, chipping it away. At the same time, when you're forcing this number of throws, it does increase the chance of error on one of the throws. If it's not perfect, if it's not spot on, it could result in a turnover.
And that's exactly it. In order to score a point from a given position requires 100% completions. And that's one of the big things about a zone like this, forcing so many passes. It just means exactly as we just saw Brian Bertram with a nice slap down defense.
That's satisfying.
That's exactly what we're going to see. We're just seeing force so many passes. A big bit opening up space for Wilson, sending one across to McLaurin, right in the red zone, looking for an option, wanting to get the score, finding Hamish Crockett. To Lehigh, really letting his hair down. In that near corner, just looking
A safe
for an
swinging
option.
throw to Ball. And Ball, a really experienced handler here. She's helped develop this team. I'm sure excited to see where it is today, be playing with them and that safe, calm presence in the handler position.
Simone Ball, one of the Hammertron huntresses, sitting with the disc just outside of the red zone, looking to capitalize on an open cut. There's not a lot developing from the pressure
must
from the
be
Huri
high
Putty.
now. She manages to find that dump swing there. And the safe hands for that dump, you know. She is so calm with the disc there, not fazed by that stall high count, just waiting for the right option to open up.
Wilson, backhand to the far side, a nice bid!
That was a satisfying point, that was great.
Well done, Matua Ian. That is exactly what we like to see. Number 16, McLaren with the layout bid. A seeming habit of his on some of these live stream games, but a nice deep cut developing. We can see it now. Daniel Aldridge out of position. So McLaren with a nice opportunity to just go to ground, secure the point, making it 9-6. Still in favor of Huri Putty, but still anybody's game.
And we see Neil in the back there from that replay, just chasing down the disc, just in case, you know, goes a bit farther. She's trying to get involved in that play, but just couldn't quite make it before the disc found its way into the safe hands for the point.
So Hammertron one more time, sending out their defensive line, just double checking to see whether or not it is a lady point or a male point. A signal given, so it looks to be a lady point. So we'll see 4 women on each line.
Oh, that is a monster pull going up.
A huge amount of legs behind it. Looks like it might be
Into
going out the back.
Yep. Maybe too much of a monster, so that's going to be going to the brick mark since it was pulled out of the playing field, out of the end zone.
But that will give the Hammertron defense an opportunity to set up that zone, that 2-3-2. We've got Maringi Hogan in McLaurin in the deep space. Simone Ball taking the middle spot. So the 2 players at the very front hoping to sort of funnel the disc towards that center place for either Wilson or Ball to eat that one up.
And I think that's a really intelligent play right there, because Ball she's so quick on her toes, and really great at recognizing space and where the threats are. She's a shoo-in in that position. Over the top throw to Paul.
And able to work through Fitzpatrick Cockram. We're going to see another unnecessary, another hammer. He's getting a forehand up that near sideline.
A lot of energy on the mark here. Not phasing the handlers of Huri Putty.
Again, that Hammertron zone just stopping that upfield momentum, forcing Huri Putty to reevaluate, to find alternative angles for attack.
Oh!
A diving bid by Wilson. Great momentum from T-Top Smith, looking to get a low backhand with a little bit of air underneath it to push it back up into the hands of the receiver. Wilson gets a great read on it and commits everything to getting the turn for Hammertron Prime.
And he's just walking off of it like it was nothing.
A deep shot into their own defensive zone to find Hogan going over the top. Kieran McDonald using his legs to get there in time to keep it in hands despite a high disc. Simone Ball, far sideline, marked by Reisner, but sends a forehand up anyway. Kieran McDonald underneath it, keeps it secure.
And jumping back to where he'd received the disc, looks like there might be some conversation about whether it was in or out of bounds. They're waving their hands to signal to everyone to stop the play, that there has been a call, that they're talking through what happened there. Again, not sure if the catch was in or out of bounds. Looks like it was in, continuing with the play.
Personally, I'm a fan of the rule of cool. When a play looks that good, give them the benefit of the doubt.
Absolutely.
Bodis, great positioning on defense to cause a turn there. And now Hammertron back on defense in their own red zone. If they can score a turn here, it's going to look great for them, but Huri Pari a long field ahead of them. Still, they've exhibited the patience plenty of times. They know how to work around this zone. They know how to work through it when necessary.
They have, and you know, at the same time, Hammertron has really been doing a great job at getting Ds, generating those turnovers in the zone as well. So when the throw is not perfect, you know, we have been seeing it snapped up by that hungry defense.
But a big wide swing finds the zone out of position. Fitzpatrick Cochran a little bit hesitant, but manages to get Yo to catch up, working the disc backwards and forwards between them as the zone repositions.
Give and go plays there, just exploiting that space. Disc to Paul on the sideline.
T-Top Smith with a fumble had straddled the line as he secured the disc. That seems to be the perspective that Vaughn Wilson. T-Top Smith seems to agree, so that will constitute a turnover.
Now, when your foot is on the line in the sport of ultimate frisbee, it's considered to be out of bounds. So we saw there his foot was on the line when he was throwing, and even though the other foot was in the field, it was out of bounds. Great spirit there, no contest, and it's a turnover. Disc now in the hands of Tim Gurman. Great safe swinging pass.
Emma Taylor, Wilson. Winds up a couple of big shots, has to holster them back from the pressure from Fitzpatrick Cochran.
So poached. Oh, great.
Kieran McDonald keeping the disc alive twice. Nice attempt at a reset to Maringi Hogan as she runs through, but it goes to ground. So we're back on defense for Hammertron. Huri Pari with another opportunity.
And I love that quick flow. It's so fun to watch. At the same time, the threat, you know, the risk of that is that, you know, when you're moving it too fast and your teammate's not on the same page, it can result in a quick turnover like that.
Nice, Briar!
Reisner with the disc, threading through to Yo. Fitzpatrick Cochran and Yo, just those give and goes, a nice 10 meters gained in the red zone, right on the edge.
Trying to find the open players here.
T-Top Smith through to Reisner for a beautiful score. Huri Pari
Easy.
going up to 10 against Hammertron Prime's 6.
And I'm curious if Hammertron's going to continue with this zone. Again, they have been really effective, you know, biting on the opportunities and generating those turnovers. At the same time, it does appear that Huri Pari is, especially the handlers, are getting more and more familiar with chipping away at it, you know, finding those open options, you know, resetting to that third handler that's open more often than not with the two people, you know, pressuring downfield. There's always going to be that third handler, potentially fourth that's open. So I'm curious if they're going to continue with that zone again, trying to find those you know, exploit those defensive areas when the throws aren't quite perfect, or if they're going to look at switching things up, maybe running a person defense or switching up the zone, because there is a bit of a breeze as well.
And we see the Hammertron offensive line coming out. Moore, Smith, Carter, Taiapa, Wilcock, Downey, and McDonald. Christine Moore, again, just using a depth of experience from her previous Worlds campaigns. Michael Downey, Kelly Carter the same, and Marie McDonald as well. Lucas Wilcock, who's represented New Zealand. Just a huge amount of experience here on this line, a lot of Frisbee nous. And we're going to hopefully see the Hammertron Prime team manage to convert this against the Huri Pari defense. A big, beautiful pull from Huri Pari.
Again, the wind is carrying it far. They might need to rein it in a little bit. Maybe fewer wheat bix in the morning. So, looks like Downey walking down to pick up the disc there, jogging back. It's a bit far to bring it up to that brick mark.
So we're going to see Hammertron disc center field. Initiating from their same hex offense. So we're seeing a 2-3-2 offense here, just looking to sort of create space for the rest of your team, looking to capitalize on it with a second cut. It's that second cut that gets the disc and allows progress up the field. So we're seeing Lucas Wilcock with a great bid as the throw falls a little behind him, unable to keep it alive.
Wick adapting on defense. They are set up, stopping that quick movement immediately. Huri Pari nonetheless finding the open players. Looking to center, but the great mark there Neil finds it downfield for the strike cut.
A nice run-through score by Pellman.
Absolutely. You know, he had the energy. He juked back and I think really set the defense there on his heels before cutting back to the front cone, which is in the end zone one of the most dangerous parts, one of the top areas where you'll see players scoring points. As we can see again here, that ankle-breaking cut as he launches himself back towards the fronts. The hip movement there on defense, he couldn't quite turn fast enough to stay with him. But that can also be a challenge with such a speedy player like Pellman. Yo walking up to the line here to talk about strategy or potentially just listen in on what they're going to be doing, again, to offer the feedback from the sideline, being able to echo calls, support the force, or potentially talk to players if it's in a zone and they need to hear where things are happening on the field, you know, where there are threats and how they can best cover them.
And so we look to be seeing on the Huripari defensive line, Andrew Fitzpatrick Cockram, who's done a fantastic job, the central surgeon, just working his way through that zone, particularly in concert with anyone put on the line with him. We've seen him do really, really great work with Lee Yo, but really with his precision, he can kind of work through any zone. So a turn here is critical for Huripari. So Hammertron doing everything in their power to stop that from happening.
And you're hearing a loud Burke here on the sideline as she's giving feedback to her teammates, just as I was saying there. She's letting them know where the threats are on the field, where they should be covering, where they're looking, and that intensity has generated that turnover there. Sometimes we say not just the people on the field, but the sideline definitely played into it as well. While they may not be actively on the field, they're definitely actively in the ears offering feedback, and it's just another pair of eyes.
Yeah, there's that miscommunication causing that turn there for a good opportunity for a score that we do see that through. Again, Fitzpatrick Cockram through to Aldridge for the score.
And Aldridge, really experienced player here that Huripari's picked up. I'm sure a great mentor for a lot of the younger players as well. He's got a lot of years of experience under his belt, great throws, and just a calm presence around the disc. Knows where to find those points, the danger spaces on the field, especially in the end zone, to secure the disc and score that point.
So 12-6 in favor of Huripari. Huripari looking to close the door on Hammertron Prime. Huripari with a surprising, certainly for them, loss against HMC in an earlier game. We mentioned this yesterday as HMC put an impressive performance over Mobility Scuba. That they had unseated Huripari in an earlier pool play match. So Huripari clearly not forgetting that, being unwilling to let up the pressure at all. Prime with a 6-point deficit, not an impossible deficit for them to come back from. Last year they've had a couple of nice comebacks from deficits of this size, but whether or not Huripari will make the mistakes that will allow Hammertron to do that remains to be seen.
We've got Titoff Smith with the disc here, ready for the pull, winding up. And he's going for a bit more of an angle and outside in, which is a great adaptation from the last few pulls coming from that end zone when they have pulled it out of bounds.
Good little bit of roll, managing to catch the Hammertron's Carter out of position, having to reposition to get the disc. Johnson and Carter working.
And Huripari again really adapting, true to their word on defense. They've moved into a 3-person cup, it looks like. Which is a new zone that we haven't seen yet.
Gurman, Tayapa, Wilcock just working that far sideline. Huge gains made by Hammertron and only a few passes.
And it can be difficult when you're downfield cutter on offense like this. Great D, just reading that space. Titoff Smith with the defensive play there.
A little bit low on that throw. It's important to show kindness to your receivers wherever possible. Huripari with an opportunity to work that same far sideline. We see the central surgeon. Resets to Titoff Smith. Marked by Tapa, gets one away underneath the outstretched foot, finding.
Botis going for the wide swing there. Definitely making up some yards.
A beautiful break throw to Yo.
Hammer fake, loved that.
Fitzpatrick Cockram offloading to Aldridge, back to Fitzpatrick Cockram. Titoff Smith with a nice forehand for the score. Rebecca Ashton to pull that one in, taking Huripari within 2 points.
And Williams right there with her, looking to contest it, but just couldn't quite get in front of that disc.
Just really great offensive positioning. And again, a throw that has the right amount of curve to just take it away from the defender, having curve back in towards the receiver. A really, really great connection there. Execution was pretty perfect on both sides, and that allowed Huripari for a comfortable score, taking them one step closer to a victory over the hometown heroes, Hammertron Prime.
Now it looks like a timeout has been called. I imagine Hammertron Prime wants to revisit their strategy, after a few points, Huripari's really got their foot on the gas pedal, and you can see from their energy right now, Burke miming potentially catching a point there. The high fives, the energy, the heads are held high. They're really having fun. They're really excited about the score. They're excited about how they're doing. And I think Hammertron is recognizing that momentum and looking to slow it down a little bit. Put on the brakes and see how they can respond, how they can, put their foot on the gas pedal on their own and slow them down.
And again, we're seeing the difference in size between these two huddles. It really does highlight how well Huripari are doing and just how consistent and concise and efficient their frisbee is, considering that they have 14 players to draw from at any given time. And yes, it is only 7 aside, but particularly after some of these long points, you want to swap the entire line where possible. And with only 6 guys on the line by the sounds of things for Huripari, it means that they're not always going to be able to get a sub if there's a 4-man point required. So it's really, really impressive to see how their athleticism is carrying them through this game. Hammertron with a larger line, a lot of experience, and perhaps better rest, considering most of them were able to sleep in their own beds last night.
That's a good point.
It's nice to see Huripari really, really giving them the business, really putting the work in, and we will see whether or not Hammertron are able to bring back a 7-point deficit to put on a showing similar to the one that they had during last year's Division 1, where they were able to come almost from out of nowhere from the perspective of the rest of the country and take home the bronze medal.
And Blair, you are mentioning the small team here, but it can be really fun if you've put in the training, if you do have the legs to be able to stay on. And I know I've mentioned this before, but when you have that momentum going, when you're on the field and you're zoned in, when you have that focus, it can be really beneficial to just stay on. And with a team, for example, like Marvelous DC, with a really big roster, you want to give your teammates a chance to play, and you want to keep that fair across the board, unless it's a really close game in which they might tighten the lines. But with small teams like Huripari, with a really limited roster, it can be nice to really stay on the field and keep flow going. If something's working well, gives you a chance to stay on and continue that thing that was working well, instead of throwing a halt in there and bringing on fresh legs.
Hellman with a big, beautiful pull. Gurman, Carter. We are seeing Huripari come down in that zone, establishing a cup around our throwers.
And there's 2 players deep. Neil's covering them both, now just one.
Kelly Carter just behind the disc, goes for the trailing edge, finds turf instead.
And Neil looking to pick up with Hellman back as the dump resets.
So this is what we're going to see. So we are seeing the Hammertron's offensive line look to switch to a match defense, calling switches where necessary.
Ooh.
Gurman coming through, not today, gets a swipe at it. Pause on the afterburners over just a few minutes, securing a turn, a great opportunity for a very confident thrower to make big gains up the field.
And that was great defense on Hammertron's part. Ooh, chasing it down, couldn't quite get there. I'm excited to see them lock down that defense again, because in that vertical stack, it really looked like Huripari was struggling to find spots to get open. There wasn't a lot of movement for Neil. And here, that's a different story with some ankle-breaking cuts from Fitzpat Cochran, swinging the whole field to O'Leary.
Fitzpatrick Cochran again. Sends a big shot up. Beth Williams in.
Neil looking deep, and she's got it in the air. patrolling the skies.
Hellman with a long shot, eaten up by Michael Downey.
That was some fun, fast ultimate there.
Absolutely beautiful to see. You've got two open receivers for the Huri Pari side. Looking to cut deep, you can hit either one of them. There's only one defensive player in the space. You come down with it, a foot block by the looks.
And Downey again on defense, just bringing it just as intensely with the defensive play. So Huri Pari back on offense. Neil with the disc, looking, can we get it in this time? Will this possession be the last one? Ooh, great inside-out pass to the break side there.
Now, Hammertron really needs to defend that near sideline. Titoff Smith trying to signal shots to the far sideline to open up that space. A high forehand. It's a bit of a speculator. It's brought down over Wilcox by a high jump to try and bring that one down, but it's Fitzpatrick Cochran with the disc. We'll see that one again. Titoff Smith targeting the far sideline, nothing developing, and so we bring the disc up and over to the near sideline.
Dropping that down and just patrolling the skies. Fitzpatrick Cochran again. Great to see just after that highlight the hug between the two players. Again, great spirit in this game.
If nothing else, you have to respect good ultimate. And so, Huri Pari within 1 point of victory. Hammertron Prime currently on 6. We're going to see the Hammertron offensive line take the field. Kelly Carter, Maria Smith, Anne-Marie McDonald, Andrew Johnson, Vaughn Wilson, Tim Gurman, and Simone Ball.
And they're on offense now. Will they turn up the heat? Will they take this and run with it? You know, we saw Exiles do something similar yesterday. It was, you know, the final point for 8 points in a row while Exiles just ran with it. It would be really exciting right now to see Hammertron run with this, take this offensive points, and then carry it as far as they can.
Potentially 9 points left to play, depending on how Hammertron Prime perform with this offensive line. We're seeing some of the more confident, longer throwers on their team take the line now, so they might be looking to create more opportunities for themselves in the deep space. We know there's a lot of fitness, a lot of athleticism in those legs. Wilson Fields.
Hellman with the pull and manages to keep it in the end zone. Great handler movement right off the bat.
The zone starts to clamp down and arrests the momentum built by Vaughn Wilson. Gets the disc across to Kelly Carter, having to work around a high backhand, finds Simone Ball. Maria Smith, far sideline, just trying to work around that zone. Not being afraid to drop the disc back, not being afraid to give up yardage for possession.
Ooh.
Threading a low one through the middle. Kelly Carter, Simone Ball, just wonderful seeing the two of them work together.
Absolutely. They're two players that just work so well, and it's so fun to
Kelly
watch
Carter
them.
with a big shot. Andrew Johnson running it on, walks it into his hands. Absolutely beautiful to see.
Great point. Let's see if they can do that again. You were mentioning and just highlighting that again, Simone Ball and Kelly Carter, just two great players, and watching them play together. They've played together for years, and that experience, they're just in each other's heads, and they know what they're looking for. They're both so calm and have such a powerhouse of throws that they can get it to each other, and I think it really resulted in a point there, that energy, that syncopation, being on the same page.
And just knowing as well the depth of throws available to that particular offensive line, it was quite clear that they were just looking to keep working the disc until they could find something in power position for one of those huntresses to really just unleash a salvo downfield. Andrew Johnson, an incredibly quick deep cutter, and so seeing that unfold, knowing that they had those long throws, knowing that that was an option available to that offensive line, and seeing that all come together for a wonderful score for Hammertron Prime as they go up 7 points now against the impressive Huri Pari team.
Hammertron now looking at scoring again, but with that point, they're starting on defense. So they've got their strong defensive line out there and looking to generate a turnover first.
Lovely pull curving back into the field.
That was a great pull. Also, great safe catch. It can be more difficult to catch those pulls when they're at an angle coming down. He walked it right into the breadbasket.
Titoff Smith and Aldridge having to work the near sideline through this zone, having to go up and around with a high release backhand, a little bit of angle on it, but keeping that inbounds.
A lot of pressure on the disc right now.
Lehigh Kapoor nearly managing to send one out of the reach of Reisner.
Difficult to do when you have such a tall receiver, though. Ooh, inside out pass, threading it through the cup into the hands of Aldridge, back to Pellman.
And again, that same quick disc work that we're seeing from them. Bodus.
We're seeing a lot of players dropping back for quick passes here. A lot of people dropping back to the handler position or popping into the cup. And this is the way Huri we've seen throughout this game has been breaking this zone, is through those small quick passes, not biting on those downfield potentially open looks. You know, if it's not broken, why fix it? You know, why make any changes? So if they're going to break this zone, I think they're going to do it the same way they have been before, which is through calm passes, again, walking it down the field.
Bodus having to throw from the knee, going with a hammer over the top of the impressive defense of Lehigh Kapoor. The surgeon cutting straight through Simone Ball, but it looks like contact was made. It almost looked like she teleported from one side of Aldridge to the other, but it looks to have been contact. Maybe hit him so hard she went straight through him. And it's uncontested.
Teleportation, definitely illegal, unfortunately, in the sport of Ultimate Frisbee. And downfield, we've got Paul switching with boats, just in case they do want to stretch the field there. Again, loud sideline from Huri, letting the players know where the openings are in the zone, where they should be looking. That sideline can be so beneficial and so instrumental in getting offensive flow moving.
Huge pressure from the Hammertron defense, but Huri calm, working their way around it.
Yeah,
just threading through, finds the surgeon again.
Hammertron not letting up on this defense, really keeping the pressure on. Floaty pass, nommed up by Aldridge as he's looking for the continuation.
The wind getting underneath that, putting a bit of flow, giving Hammertron defenders time to get underneath it, but Huri secure hands, keep possession.
And again, the calm, quick throws, they're just finding those openings.
Hellman, Titov Smith, Bodus near sideline, back to Titov Smith. The zone really trying to reposition, using the sideline as an additional defender, but through the middle, Reisner takes it.
Paul waiting for that on the downwind side, just waiting for that to come through. Opening up to Pellman on the downwind side.
Scuba with a huge amount of fade. A hammer back across the field. Titov Smith receives.
Keeping this exciting. And again, Paul just waiting for that downwind option. Ooh, could not quite complete that.
Looks like contact might have been made and there's an injury called.
Oh no. That's not what you like to see at this point in the tournament. Still early days. He's walking off, so hopefully he's feeling okay soon.
So that's Hamish Crockett with a nice defense. Simone Ball on the turn, just looking for territory at this point.
Definitely opening it up, so at this point they can clamp down in that zone, slow things down, and hopefully generate a turnover in a safer space for them on the field.
Reisner with an uncharacteristic drop. McLaurin to pick up, looking to thread through to Wilson right on the red zone. We are so close to a score. He's got options.
Taking that momentum, that energy, and just quickly turning it into offensive flow.
Ball to Hogan. Hogan shifting the mark, finding Paul off balance to create an opening.
And she sees that downfield option, holstering it, not quite taking it.
A nice low, dishy pass to Simone Ball, keeping possession, getting in the hands of the confident throwers, the ones who can really close out this. Hammertron know they've got some...
Oh!
A great bid, but he's calling it down himself.
Full length there, trying to keep that disc alive. And looks like it did touch the ground just before he got hands on it.
Little bit of miscommunication leading to a turn and an opportunity for Huri to close out the game.
If they can keep that chilly offensive flow going.
So it's managed to be kept in.
Again, Paul stretching the field deep, doing what she loves to do best, pressuring that deep space and, skying people. We'll see if they do end up opening that deep option or continuing, again, what they're best at right now, those quick, sharp movements in the handler space.
Good. Titov Smith sends one low. Reisner, long shot.
and looks like she kept it in. Great footwork there by Paul, closing out the game.
A beautiful score despite an impressive chase down by McLaren.
That-
Huri Pari going 15-7 over last year's bronze medalist Hammertron Prime.
An exciting finish from the new club, Huri Pari, and an exciting finish for Paul as well. I know this is what she loves to do, catching the disc in that deep space, scoring the points. High fives on the field, and with that concludes the game, Huri Pari versus Hammertron Prime. My name is Kelsey Bielik,
My name is Blair Monroe.
and we're signing off.